I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's officially 10 o'clock on the 5th of July. Man, the year's half over.
Yeah.
We just went over the hump.
Yeah. You better get your Christmas stars. Your shopping started.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we'd like to start this meeting today. Chad Meyerhofer has agreed to lead us in the pledge. Commissioner Ford is going to give us an invocation, and I will give the thought of the day. So, Chad?
Please rise. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, as we come before you on this great summer day, as we just celebrated the independence of this country, we give thanks for the opportunities we have and the freedoms we enjoy, freedoms of speech, the ability to elect those people to represent us that we feel in this country will represent the majority of the public, and the freedoms we enjoy every day in this state and this county. We give thanks for those, and we ask for your continued blessings that this great country, state and county, can continue on that path forward. We ask, Father, for your blessings for those across this world that do not have the opportunities and freedoms that we enjoy, and that they may soon enjoy some of those freedoms and the opportunities that we have in this great country. We ask your blessings, Father, for this commission to be given the opportunity to act in the best interest of the citizens of this great county, and that we may continue to enjoy the opportunities that citizens of this county can enjoy for the foreseeable future. We say this prayer in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Ford. It's interesting, this celebration weekend that we just passed, 4th of July. Wow. It's been a while since we've had, it's kind of like everything's back to normal again now. And I don't know about you two, but a lot of Americana and celebration, and it's just I'm grateful to, we are so fortunate to live in this country and have control of our own destinies and be able to do the things we want. I tell you, we all have to remember that. I look a little odd right now because I had my cataracts.
You don't look odd.
Yeah, I do. I had them out this last week, and so I'll be wearing these glasses for a couple weeks. Well, just as I get to the point where I won't need them, I'm going to have the other eye done. So, yeah, I'll be around. I'll be in them for a month. Anyway, you're never grateful for something until you lose it. And I went in there, and one of the first things they do is they shoot your eye with a laser. And that laser cuts the edge of your cornea in there. And it softens up that cataract so they can take it out. Well, when they do that, there's about a 4-hour period between when they do that and you actually go up to the medical center and have them removed. So for 4 hours, you're just walking around home. Well, you're actually blind at that time. In that eye, you can't see anything. There's light that comes in, and you can see, if somebody walked in front of you, you can kind of see a figure moving. But that's it. And boy, that gives you cause for people who have lost their vision for one reason or another. I've often thought, well, if I lost an eye or something like that, I'd probably get along okay. Well, boy, I'm telling you, that's pretty miserable. When you can't see and you end up being there's no peripheral on one side of your head, and
Yeah.
it's really terrible. Boy, I'd hate to lose an eye. I'm grateful this day for my vision. That's a big deal. And you got to lose it for a couple hours so you can really appreciate what you have. And I do this day. And so that's my thought of the day, is appreciate everything you got. Because, boy, when you finally lose it, you worry.
Amen.
All right. Good to have you here. Okay, so next item on our agenda is public comments. We've gone back to public comments and allowed people to come in and comment on the items that are on our agenda. And if there was anybody in the audience today that'd like to comment, we'd love to have you come forward and talk to us. Now would be your time. Okay, don't see anybody. So in that case, we'll go to item F on the agenda, which is a presentation by Weber Basin Water Conservancy District on their tentative budget. Mr. Scott Paxman, chairman of that, would you please come on up? Good to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Scott Paxman, General Manager, Weber Basin Water Conservancy District, and here to talk about our...
Scott, introduce who you brought with you, too, so everybody knows.
Yes, appreciate that. So Darren Hess and John Perry are my two assistant general managers. Darren's over operations of the district, and John is over strategic planning and conservation. So great men to have behind me. So appreciate it.
Did you miss stage yet?
I swear at him every day.
Hold on. I will say, though, that I think
Hold on.
Scott Paxman, he's had the best rain record of any water district guy in the April, May, June, any guy I've ever seen.
It's been a great
While we
spring.
missed Tage, boy, I'll tell you what, his track record coming into this first 3 months is pretty good. We're looking forward to this next week. Well, we're hopeful there'll be more storms. Thanks, Scott.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, totally. Try my best. Okay, let's, if we can't get this going. Okay. So just a little background about our district. So
You're going to have to speak into that mic. Yeah, it won't pick it up if you don't.
All right,
Sorry.
I appreciate that. So Weber Basin Water Conservancy District covers 5 counties, so about 2,500 square miles of northern Utah, Weber, Davis, Summit, Morgan, and a portion of Box Elder counties. We serve about a population of about 700,000 people. And we deliver drinking water, agricultural water, groundwater replacement, and industrial water supplies. So that's kind of what we do as a district, and we're, as far as the state code, that's kind of our requirement, is to deliver, develop, and supply those water supplies. I'll get her. There we go. So the intent is for the district is to increase our tax levy in 2023 fiscal year, and that exceeds our certified tax rate. So certified tax rate is that rate that allows us to collect enough revenue to meet that we collected last year or the previous year. And so we have to adjust that certified tax rate to increase our tax rate. So why do we even collect property taxes? Why are we doing that as a conservancy district? Well, back when the district was first formed in 1952 and 61, the voters of our entire district approved the federal Weber Basin Water Project to be built, as well as obligated those property tax revenues to repay and maintain that federal project. And that's still the case. those property tax revenues go specifically to that federal project. It also benefits the district as far as the bond rating. Our bond rating right now is a AAA or a AA plus bond rating, and that's primarily due to that taxing authority that we have, because it provides a lot of security and stability to our financial picture. And also there's a ton of public good. So there's things that we supply or provide to the public that not necessarily gets passed down to the actual end user that uses our water, but everybody that travels through or in the district. So, and just to touch a little bit on those public good reasons. So first one is environmental. So there's over 86,000 acre-feet of water that was developed with the federal project that is sent either down the rivers or that we deliver in particular to the bird refuges, to fish flows, and to the Great Salt Lake to enhance those environmental impacts. If we were to sell that water today, that 86,000 acre-feet per year, that would be about $42 million of benefit, I guess, to the district. But that was our contribution by law, by the federal contract. We're required to provide those environmental flows. Another one was the flood control. So it's been a little bit since we've had floods in our district, in our county. 2011 was probably the biggest year that we had some flood waters. And the flows in that year were pretty much cut in half, primarily due to the reservoirs that captured and reduced those flood flows. So those flows were reduced from 5,000 CFS approximately from what would have been about 9,000 CFS in the lower Weber. So significant benefits. And then recreation, you're aware of all the recreation benefits and conservation programs throughout the district that we push out, and hope, and the public responded significantly with the public comments and public participation that we've had on conservation, as can be seen this year specifically because of our drought situation. But approximately $3.5 million a year is spent on just conservation. Disaster mitigation, annual contributions to wildfire mitigation is a huge one that we try to get up in the Forest Service properties and so forth to try to mitigate some of those possible wildfires. Seismic stability of our lifeline products, which include water treatment plants, drinking water storage facilities, and pipelines that we designed specifically to withstand a certain seismic event, so that we can move on after such an event. But that's all very costly. Fish protection, we do a lot of fish passages and work with Division of Wildlife Resources to help in that regard. Drought mitigation, we produced a drought response plan that was it was a great thing to have on the books, specifically in the last couple of years, so that we can refer to them. But a lot of public entities, private entities, participated in producing that plan, and so we've had a lot of benefits from that. We can actually just go to the plan and say, well, this is the way this year is. This is how we've got to respond. And then watershed protection. We're doing hundreds of hours a month in collecting samples from the river and reservoirs to analyze water quality and make sure that there aren't any issues with water quality in the watershed. Okay, so ad valorem tax rate. So our statutory rate, according to Utah State Code, is 0002. That's the maximum rate that we can ask for. And interestingly, out of all of the conservancy districts in the state, we are the lowest. We have the lowest statutory rate. For instance, Central Utah and others have 0004 and as high as 001 for their statutory rates. Our certified rate for 2022 to collect the same amount that we gained last year is 000103. And we're asking, or proposing that that rate go up to 000167. And that's a significant increase. We haven't increased our tax rate since 2008, and primarily because those were hard recession years, and our board at that time felt like it was not wise to keep increasing that ad valorem tax up to the statutory limit. But on the other hand, because of the extreme inflation rates that we've seen in the past few years, we're falling behind on a lot of the things, especially on the repayment and maintenance of the federal project, and so we feel like this is would be a great benefit to the district. So reasons for the increase, again, changes in the climate, in the financial climate. Inflation rates have just gone crazy. We just bid a project, another outlet to the Willard Bay. It was to replace our siphon. We had the engineer's estimate that was about $6 million. That included a huge contingency because of the inflationary rates. Well, we had 3 interested bidders. We only got 1 bid, though, and that was for $10.5 million. And we just felt like it was ridiculous. The unit prices in that bid were 6, 7, 10 times what you would expect. It was $20,000 a foot for a 48-inch pipe installation, so it was just outrageous. And we just felt like it wasn't wise to award that bid, so we decided to postpone it. But that's just an example of some crazy things that are happening. So our district is always really planning for far out in the future. We have a 50-year planning horizon, so we're always looking for future water projects. We're planning for the population growth that's been projected, doubling our population by 2060. It's hard to even see that happening, a double of our population here in Weber County. But it's going to happen, and it's planned on happening. So we've got to be ready for that. So, thus, we look for reasons to develop water. We look for conservation to be one of those development projects for sure. And I think I've covered the rest of those on that slide. So, what are our tax funds support? So, our ad valorem tax supplies about 12.5% of our total budget. So not a lot, but it's significant. So that with the proposed tax rate, our income from ad valorem tax will be about $17 million. $1.1 million will go towards the replacement and contract reserve requirements for the federal project. $3.2 million will be for operations and maintenance, mostly for operations of the federal project. $6.5 million was spent this year specifically to purchase water from the Central Utah project for drought mitigation, which really helped us out tremendously this year. $300,000 for wildlife mitigation, $2 million for regional conservation programs that we do throughout the entire region, not just in our basin. And then $4 million for repair and mostly replacement of the original federal project. So that's kind of how it breaks down as far as the expenditures. So the increase in the tax rate is significant, 62%. Again, because we hadn't raised it since 2008. But the effect on the average household in the water in our district, a value of $543,000 residential home would see an increase of $18.80 per year. That's an increase from $30.25 to $49.05 annually. So it's not huge, but it's a huge benefit to our district. And again, the increase to the budget is about $6 million. And that's our presentation. I appreciate your attention and your support.
Thank you.
And again, this is really just for informational purposes. There's no action required by the commission. We will have our hearing. Our tax hearing will be on August 4th, 6 p.m. at our office in Layton. So everyone's invited to attend that that's interested in doing so.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions?
Comment, if I might.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Faur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Scott, appreciate that presentation. Obviously, nobody likes to see property tax increases, but,
Right.
you know, since we haven't seen an increase from Weber Basin since 2008, and again, you know, we applaud the efforts of our municipalities and our agencies like you to look after those tax dollars. Going to the 00167 is not a major, well, it's substantial in terms of dollars, but in terms of what the allowable certified tax rate would be, I think that it makes sense. And it makes sense that you're putting a majority or a good share of that tax into repair and replacement. Because in my experience from state and private business, it's a lot easier and more efficient dollar-wise to start to replace rather than wait until the end of that useful life and then it costs more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think
Very
that
true.
it's a wise investment, and hopefully the public will show up and have their voice heard at that, but the outcomes are a lot better to start doing this on a gradual basis rather than wait until we have significant where then you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's very
So-
important. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my comment, Mr. Chairman.
Does this, the tax on that you showed for residential, what about for commercial or agricultural
The
water?
commercial industrial is approximately double that, so there's probably about $34 per annual, or per year increase.
That's because of the discount, right?
Yes, exactly.
What about agricultural?
Not sure on agriculture. It's probably significantly less. I'm sure it is.
But it's all relative to that figure, though,
Yes,
correct?
Yes, yeah,
On ag, that'd be in the green belt.
yes, exactly.
Okay, I don't have no more questions.
Okay. So, as it turns out, because of the inflationary factor, the amount we're increasing it as far as the actual figure is less than was anticipated. And so, actually, this is good. The district's in really good shape. All right. Thank you, Scott. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment, or online that would like to comment on this? We would take a public comment if you'd care to on this Weber Basin tax increase. Shelley, you don't? No. Okay, we don't have any. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Scott, very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. I don't know if you read the letters to the editor. There was one in there the other day that talked about all the tax increases that are coming out. And in fact, there was 14 or 15 of them, and they went down through there. And in the middle of it, it got down there, and it says Weber County's going up.
I saw that.
Did you? And I thought, that's not right. We're not increasing our taxes this year.
Ricky, wasn't that in response to what we did with stormwater and library for
No,
last year?
This was future.
It wasn't.
My understanding is that this is the year that increase, we voted on and had the public hearing last year, and this is the first time that will be on the tax forms.
But we don't have anything planned for coming up.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I think that's the important point
I
is that,
see you seen that, because that upset me.
yeah, it's like, well, somebody didn't tell me about the potential, right now, I don't believe we have any intention of going through truth and taxation.
I don't have
This-
any intention.
Yeah, so I think we need to make sure the public and the press understands that, make sure that we don't have any fake news circulating out there. which sometimes can happen.
It does happen, doesn't it?
But, you know, at the same time, we know that there's going to be, I think it was 11 of the 15 municipalities were
Yeah.
anticipating a truth in taxation. So now's the time, again, for the public to get out and attend their school boards, their local city councils, Weber Basin, because that's the opportunity they have
That's true.
to have their voice heard, rather than wait until they get the tax notice and then start calling their favorite people at Weber County, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Ford, that's good. All right, we'll go to the consent items then. First item on the agenda, of course, is our, now as I read this, I'm gonna, you know, my eyes are weird, so I might be reading weird stuff. So you better pay attention.
Okay, fine.
Okay, request for approval to ratify our warrants in the amount of $1,559,648. Item 2 is approval for warrants. Oh, so we've got 2 listings here because we missed last week. That's right. Of $1,129,959. Item 3 is approval or ratification of purchase orders in the amount of $80,909. Item 4 is request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $224,592. Item 5 is a summary of the warrants and purchase orders. Ricky, go ahead and go to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we have 2 weeks' worth of purchase orders and warrants to talk about. For the week of June 27th, we issued 10 purchase orders for $81,000. Just over half of that amount, or $43,000, was for the transfer station to go towards tree grinding services as well as fuel and parts for equipment. 28%, or $23,000, is feasibility study for the Weber Center parking structure. We issued 194 warrants that week for $1.1 million. A quarter of that amount, or $345,000, is escrow release for the Taylor Landing subdivision. 14%, or $207,000, is our monthly contribution to the Weber Human Services. 12%, or $171,000, is housing payments made on behalf of Weber Housing Authority. 8%, or $118,000, is for the roads department to purchase, to pay for asphalt, rock, and fuel. 7%, or $103,000, is elevator repairs here at the Weber Center. And then 6%, or $94,000, is the contribution to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now, for this week, we issued 18 purchase orders for $225,000. A third of that amount, or $77,000, is for the Golden Spike, and that is to do upgrades to HVAC as well as painting at the auction arena, and then as well as building improvements at the exhibit hall. 24%, or $55,000, is for the conference center for their interior doors project. 14%, or $28,000, is for roads, and that will go towards equipment rental as well as repairs and striping. 11%, or $25,000, is for the library to purchase security equipment, software, as well as building maintenance. And then 2 items at 6%, about $14,000, one for the jail, which is the law library renewal, as well as some inmate supplies, and then the transfer station, equipment maintenance, and then staffing. Lastly, our check run for this week, 253 warrants for $1.5 million. 39% of that amount, or $437,000, is for the jail, which is primarily nursing services, but also covers food, medical services for inmates, building maintenance, and utilities. 18%, or $207,000, is an escrow release, again for Taylor Landing as well as Suncrest Meadows. 7% is our periodic payment on the new HR system. 6%, or $72,000, is for the Golden Spike Event Center, and that was for maintenance shop construction as well as an upgrade to the paging system and HVAC repairs.
Thank you, Ricky. Questions, commissioners, either of you?
Nope, not for me.
You know, it's interesting, you can see that of that money we've given the Eccles Convention Center for their remodel, we're starting to get some of the very first things coming through on that. That door project for $55,000. So here we go, huh? Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, with that in mind, let's go to the next items on there. So item 6 on the list is approval of the minutes for the June 21st commission meeting. Item 7 is a request for approvals of ratification of HMGP-FM, good night, fiscal year 2021 hazardous mitigation grant program, post-fire articles and agreements. Item 8 is a request for approval of tax refund to the Taylor family revocable trust. It doesn't give us the amount, but of course we know what that is. Occasionally there's a misapplication of a tax notice or something, and we have to adjust that. Item 9 is request for the Weber County Fleet Department for approval to surplus a 2014 Ford Explorer. Item 10, request for approval of county policies governing the administration of federal awards. And that's it. Commissioners, questions on these? You know, we offer these vehicles up there for sale, as item 9 there, that Ford Explorer. And Sean was telling me that he bought one of those here last month or two ago, and that they're pretty decent. You know, the county, we maintain them and put them on regular rotation for maintenance, and these are actually, there's a lot of life left in these vehicles. All right, how about a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve the consent items as listed with the comment.
Yes.
Just in speaking, I appreciate the responsible spending and how they're, before it even gets to us, before it even gets to this consent packet, before we see these, there's been many eyes on there, and I trust our managers. I trust our expenses that are going through, and if that's not enough, then we get 2 or 3 other sets of eyes on them before they get to us. So I have got a lot of confidence there. And then in speaking to the fleet, of course Mr. Wilkinson would buy one of those fleet vehicles. That's probably the best stamp of approval we could get, because he's in charge of the fleet, and he knows how they're maintained. And I've got a lot of confidence in that, too, in our folks that do that. You and William George Ross that takes care of that, we appreciate that. So thank you.
That's good. All right, so I have a motion.
And I'll second with a comment also, if
ahead.
I might, to follow up on Commissioner Harvey's comment. So obviously our fiscal responsibility in this county is very good, and the people we have in charge of that are doing a stellar job. But we also need to give credit to our other departments across. If you look at the last efficiency report that came out that we requested, we have efficiencies and cost savings across this county that I wasn't even aware of, from the treasurer's office all the way through the Golden Spike. So part of our management of our financial stability in this county has to come about from our efficiencies. And I think that we need to give recognition to those departments that look after, that follow the lead, that the taxpayer dollars is the most critical thing we do at this county, and they do a great job of ensuring that those taxpayer dollars are put in the proper place.
That's great, thank you, Commissioner Ford, that's great. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. That passes. All right, action items today. Our first item is a request for of approval of a resolution 33-2022 of the County Commissioners of Weber County appointing a member to the Weber County Library Board of Trustees. Is Linda here? She's all right, so Commissioner Harvey, you are going to make that appointment.
I am.
Okay, go ahead, the time's yours.
Thank you. So in your packets today, Commissioners, we have this resolution, which is 33-2022. The board met, our board, library board met, and the recommendations. Let me just pull that back out from memory in this order. Shelley, I don't have that in my packet. Okay, got it right here. Thank you. So, Kath, thank you, Commissioner. Kathleen Jensen was their first pick, and this is the one, the members' terms expired, was Kathy Jensen up there, and Reed Spencer. Mr. Spencer, Kathy served 2 terms, so she's no longer eligible to serve again. Reed Jensen would like to serve again and is currently serving as chair of the library. We've met him. He's been involved in some of those.
Reed Spencer.
Reed Spencer. He's been involved in some of those other meetings there. And
This one?
no.
Kelly, is there another one on there?
I'm sorry, they handed these out to you.
I just left that upstairs. I didn't bring it downstairs. I'm really sorry, and I don't want to misquote those.
Sorry.
Just give me a second. I apologize. I should have been better prepared.
It doesn't list anybody else here in what this says.
Stand by. Bueller? Bueller?
Harris, Bueller. I love that. That's a good movie.
Yes.
Commissioner, right now, let's hold item number 1, and I'll get this ready, and then we'll present it at the end if we can to be a little more efficient. If we could just go after
We'll
Mr.
do that.
Metallic at the
You
end.
bet.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll skip 1 right now and go to item 2. Item 2 is request for approval of an agreement by between Weber County and Zions Public Finance
Thank you, Stacy.
for financial advisory services to the county, including debt issuance, refinancing, evaluating the economic impacts of development. Mr. Scott Park.
Looks like you got Mr. Meyerhofer in front of you.
I do. Chad. Hold on, are these mixed up? Well, anyway, Scott Park, you're up.
My agenda shows Scott up.
I'll tell you what, can we go back to item number 1? I know it's,
On that item, we're gonna wait till next week on Chad's item.
Are we?
Yeah, if we can, sorry.
I can go back. I've got what I need, Shelley.
Okay, well, on our,
So what are we going to? 1?
so hold on our agenda, we don't show Chad even on here.
Scott, but that item, we're just gonna postpone that 1 week. There was some confusion. I got 2 items, one from Scott, one from Chad, they were very similar.
Okay,
Postponed for 1 week. Sorry about that.
okay, so Scott, are you ready to present?
So you voted on that contract 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so item 2, we're doing away with.
Yeah, so I thought we'd done
Very
that.
good. All right, let's go back to item number 1, which is our library board trustee. So,
Great.
Commissioner Harvey?
So, again, Kathleen Jensen and Reed Spencer are the 2. The board has asked that we retain Mr. Jensen, and in collecting the other one, just a second, there were several appointments. We had some great nominations. Those other ones were, in addition to Reed Spencer, were Wendy Ogata, Caitlin Gochner, and Madone Minor. And so the board has asked that we appoint Wendy Ogata was their recommendation. And they do a very detailed and very specific screening process based on applications and qualifications, and the need that they feel would fit the best to replace Ms. Jensen would be Wendy Ogata. So, Commissioners, the appointment that they're suggesting we approve is Wendy Ogata, and I'm presenting this today with that confidence in the board that we approve that name.
So that,
So it would be Reed Spencer and Wendy Ogata
that's your recommendation too.
as well, yes.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Very good. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye. Very good. That approval's done.
Commissioners, is that a resolution?
It's a resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution. I'm sorry,
It's Greg.
Greg. So would you go ahead and call that? That's resolution 33-2022.
Okay, roll call vote for Resolution 33-2022. Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey,
Aye.
Chair Jenkins.
Aye. Apologize for that. So we'll go to item 3 on our agenda, which is approval of a contract by and between Weber County and the following companies for the Weber County Sheriff's Office's tow contract. That starts off with Brett's Towing, Stouffer's Towing, and Ogden Towing. Curtis Jeffries, you want to go ahead and talk to us a little bit about this?
Yes, thank you. Currently, right now, we do not have a contract for a tow rotation. That used to be done by Ogden City. It's been about 2 years since that contract has lapsed. So we went through a request for purchasing process in order to find another rotation. We ended up with 3 companies that came out the highest on the list, and we'd like to do a contract with those 3 in order to do our non-preference towing for the county.
So we've been through that. Well, hold on, let's go to Commissioner Faur. This is in your portfolio.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So, yeah, I appreciate Mr. Jeffries and his work with the Sheriff's Department bringing this forward. You know, I think this is a good resolution to have actually 3 companies that go through the rotation. Obviously, the system we had in place before with Ogden City has expired. And, you know, it was the discussion was, do we go with one sole source? In my opinion, this is the best route to take. And obviously, you have the ability with this contract to take some measurement in terms of performance and evaluate these companies as they go through the performance. So I actually do support this contract, Mr. Chair. Happy to make a motion when you're ready.
Commissioner Harvey, anything you'd like to say on that?
No, I would like a little more explanation on the detail of how you arrived at the three companies. Just give us a little detail so that you have the qualifications. I know that Jason Horn put a lot of effort in this, and there was a team. So can you just go through that whole process really quick, please?
So we had requirements that we had listed out that we would like for the tow company to be able to meet or exceed on the standards. There was a group of us that sat down, went through each one of the qualifications as the companies listed in their request for the contract. So we went through item by item and listed them points to what they had, and these 3 were the ones that came out on the top of the list.
How many companies were there that put
If I
in?
remember right, I think it was 12 that put it, or 8. I can't remember for
And
sure.
were these companies just a fraction above or a long ways above in your estimation?
They were quite a bit above,
Because of the qualifications that were listed on the RFP?
yes. And
So
that's the
these
only
3
thing we went
companies
off
were
of.
far and away the most qualified to get that contract,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
And they can provide all the services we need. What happens if one of these companies fail to perform? Then you go to the next one on the list?
Yes.
If you
There
get an
will be
incident where there's a
consequences
lot
with
of
that as
people
well.
coming, what would you do? If these 3 couldn't handle it, what would happen then?
There's nothing in the contract. We would have to make some calls to see if somebody could. I don't believe that with these 3 companies that we'll ever have a situation where they couldn't handle the tows.
That's my, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Good. No, I agree with that. We were involved with this, and I think Commissioner Faur, your idea here of having multiple on the contract, I really support. I think that's a wise thing, so I'm very happy with where this has ended up. Very good. Well, Commissioner Faur, we're ready for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd move to approve the contract by and between Weber County and the following companies for towing services for the Weber County Sheriff's Office as presented today by Mr. Curtis Jeffries. Number 1, Brett's Towing. Number 2, Stoffer's Towing. Number 3, Ogden's Auto Towing.
Very good, that's a motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
It's
you.
approved, thank you, Sheriff. All right, item 4 on our list today is approval of contract by and between Weber County and the following individuals for Ogden Musical Theater 2022 production of Shrek. Stage manager is Sidney Hall. Set dresser, Marilyn Montgomery. Prop designer, Porter Lance. Costume designer, Alicia Condrick. Charge artist, Cynthia Klump. And hair and wig design, Cynthia Johnson. Cassie Bybee isn't here. So, Marty, go ahead.
Thanks, Commissioner. Cassie's on a well-deserved vacation. I hope it's okay that I fill in.
You bet.
Yeah, we're just looking for approval of these contracts for the following individuals. We're at that point in the production of our musical theater production of Shrek, where we need to start building sets, designing costumes and such. The show actually opens July 29th and runs through August 13th.
Commissioner Harvey?
I'm really excited about this year's performance at OMT. You know, we just finished with Kids Act Up with 80 participants. I believe, Commissioner Jenkins, you were there.
Me and 8 grandkids.
Yeah, and
And the missus.
so, hold on. How was that received by your family?
Well, in fact, it was received very well.
Yeah, and this, I think Shrek will be equally just as phenomenal as the Aladdin. Those Kids Act Up plays are usually matinees, and they happen during the week. But they're really good. The feeling in there is good, and to watch those kids have such an experience, it's just a great, great thing. Shelley, I know you were there, and the place looked pretty full. I mean, there was a lot of people there, and so the folks with the Ogden Musical Theater, they do a wonderful job. And of course, I know there's some direction from Cassie and that there, and that kind of helps. But we're so lucky to have professional theater here in Ogden and under the Weber County. And so it's if you're ready for a motion, Mr. Chair,
I am.
I'd wholeheartedly make that motion that we approve these contracts between the 6 individuals that were presented today by Mr. Smith.
And I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you know that Kids Act Up, after that production was over, we stood up, and my daughter that was with me, there were several others there, friends of hers. So it was interesting to sit and listen to them converse about what happened. And, you know, this is more than just a musical theater for the kids. This is a camp for them. And the camp, as it goes on, they talked about the fact that it's a little expensive, but when they get into the detail that they feed them and they give them personal training individually, and they allow them, everyone that goes gets an opportunity to produce or to act on the stage. And when you see how they do it, they did a heck of a job. But so everybody gets a chance to be in the production, to participate, and it's a really good thing. If your children have interest in that form of the arts, this is a great opportunity for them to be involved in a, I don't know how long the camp goes for, do you?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks? Well, anyway, so as a parent and a grandparent, Shelley, you really like that too, don't you?
My granddaughter's done it since the beginning, and she loves it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we had dinner last year, and we're all kind of sad. I'm trying to think of what Brian could have
Well, it's like I say, if your children tend to go to the arts and like to sing and be in plays and stuff like that, this is a great training for them, a level that it's actually pretty stinking cool for them to be able to do this, you know, on a professional stage with
Yeah.
people who know what they're doing and can train them and teach them and help them. This is a great start.
Yeah. The fact that it's grown from about 30 to 40 to 60 to 80 over the last
That's
4
true.
years, I mean, that,
Isn't that what you said, started at 80 and to this year, or I mean 30 and this year was 84?
30-ish, yeah, something like 28, 32, something like that. Yeah, now we have huge waiting lists. I'm hoping that we'll do actually 2 of them. It's just gaining some great legs. And again, it's something else that we produce,
Yeah.
we do locally.
Well, the
Can't ever go anywhere else. It's just fantastic.
The choreography behind this, to take 84 kids and put them on a stage and have them move fluidly without running into each other, and you sit and watch that, and they move here and produce this and go around. It was very seamless the way it operated. Now,
It's hard to do.
Hard
I had
to
a hard
do.
time doing it with 11 or even 5, you know,
Yeah.
about football or basketball, so.
No, I agree. To take 84 and do that, it was very, very impressive. Anyway, it was great. All right, we will go to item 5 on our action items, which is a request for approval of agreement between Weber County and the State of Utah Indigent Defense Commission for state grant funds for operation of indigent defense for fiscal year 2023. Jim Ritalik, who is now in charge and operates our indigent defense. Thank you, Jim.
Good morning, Commissioners. We just went through the most recent grant application, and we received a grant award agreement for fiscal year 2023 of $886,342. The most significant aspect of that is they've granted us funding for 6 new contract attorneys, and just recently a social worker for the interdisciplinary parental representation program. It's a pilot program in the state, and so we will have a social worker that will be working with our defense teams, and it's a pretty exciting time.
That's big.
Well, even interdisciplinary, that's as many syllables as I can probably, I've sat here the whole time. That's a big
I
one, Jim.
practiced that a number of times this morning in front of the mirror.
Interdisciplinary, that's a 7 one.
Interdisciplinary. Wow, that's a mouthful, Jim.
It is.
Well, congratulations. That's way cool.
Thank you. We're excited. And for the Commissioners' information, I have 2 of the newest attorneys. We have Nathan Carroll, and he's going to be with an adult court, and then Kyle Myers right behind him is going to be in the juvenile court. So we've already started filling those slots.
Very good. Welcome, gentlemen. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Jim, this is great. Thank you. So with that, we need a motion. Would one of you care to make that?
I'd be happy to make that motion. And it's exciting to see the participation with the State Indigent Defense Fund. We had, you remember, Commissioner Jenkins, we had a lot of involvement with that fund at the state, and it's good to see the county take advantage of that. Those tax dollars were put into that fund. Becomes very critical to these all the counties, but especially Weber County with our defense of our indigent people. So with that, I'd be happy to make a motion when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Which would be to approve the agreement by and between Weber County and the State of Utah Indigent Defense Commission for the state grant funds for operation for the indigent defense for Weber County FY23.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That's approved. Thanks, Jim. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited. This whole concept of separating it and doing what we're doing here is new in the state, and they're all watching us closely, and so I'm excited about that. This has a lot to do with Brian and his brainchild, so Brian, we appreciate you. All right, let's go into a public hearing. We have a public hearing on today, and this, so I need a motion to adjourn this meeting, go into a public hearing.
So move.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So we are now in a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to amend the operating and capital budget for the Weber County for 2022 calendar year. Mr. Scott Park.
Morning, Commissioners. So as you know, every year we have to make a couple of adjustments to our authorized
Weren't we
budget.
going to give the Indigent Defense Fund a couple of $1,000 or $1 million? And they're gone, so we can forget that now.
We'll just skip that from the
Gee, that's
budget.
too bad.
That's okay.
Boy, that's too bad.
Go ahead.
So Commissioners, you have before you a summary of adjustments of the 2022 operating and capital budgets. And I just want to talk a little bit about what we're experiencing. So like everybody else in the world right now, we are experiencing not only high inflation, but also strong demand for employees. We are having a hard time with the wages that we're offering to actually be competitive in the marketplace. And someone can come work for us, and make $15 an hour, then go work a job that's not as demanding for $17 an hour. And so, it's not surprising to see why people choose where, they follow the market incentives. So the biggest adjustments that we've had to do in our operating and capital budgets relate to market adjustments. So as you look down this list, you'll see that we had to make some market adjustments for the Golden Spike, some market adjustments for the Ogden Nichols Conference Center, for Parks and Rec. We had to do some additional hiring at the transfer station. We had an opportunity to hire new HVAC tech and a webmaster. So you can see on there, we've had to pay some of these positions a little bit more money just to get qualified people to apply. And as part of that, because we were experiencing such issues everywhere across the board in hiring and also retaining good employees, Commissioners, as you know, we had a discussion and you decided to move forward with the mid-year COLA, which is a 6% increase to all county employees, and that would go effect actually as of now, July 1. And that would be about $2.3 million for the rest of this year. And this is to help us try to keep and retain those qualified individuals and help them keep up with the cost of living. This isn't as high as inflation, so everybody's still, inflation's beyond the 6% that we're given them, but it's the best we can do right now, trying to manage, our financial responsibilities to our citizens to keep the budget in check, and also pay our employees a market rate. And so those are the biggest adjustments right there we have with our operating capital budgets. You'll see as you glance down the list, we've received a couple of additional grants. We're rolling some money over from prior years, but the big thing here is that change in staffing and personnel.
Commissioners, questions? You're speechless.
No, I was just waiting for
Go ahead.
Commissioner Farrar.
After you, sir.
I'm sure glad we have Scott Park and a capable team behind him to help us with our budget. And as mentioned earlier, this does not cause us to put into a truth and taxation hearing, as we talked about at the first of the meeting, because of the way we've been fiscally managing our budget, the responsibility that we've taken. It's been great to be able to have the ongoing funds to be able to benefit our employees. That's so important. I love this, and I appreciate both of your support in this with regards to especially, I credit both of you as well, because of your savvy, your business savvy, it wouldn't have happened without your business savvy. I remember what it was like before. You guys are very much to credit being able to do this, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, thanks for that presentation, Scott. Yeah, as we all understand, we've had some uncertain financial times out there right now. But again, I give kudos to our people over the last 4 years where we were able to increase our savings, made good decisions with our cash, what we spend on our efficiencies. Again, I go back to, so that we're not put in the position in today's world that we have to look at a tax increase, like a number of municipalities you're going to see happening. So again, I give credit to our great staff, our people here at the Weber County, and obviously Ricky Hatch in his office overseeing the financial management of this great county. So it's just important to understand that this doesn't come about just by showing up. It takes some foresight, it takes some policy, and it takes some fortitude to understand that we can't spend tax dollars without good discussions and making sure they're being put in the right places, which is exactly what we've been able to do, gentlemen, over the last 4 years. So Again, I'd want to make sure the public understands that and give credit to where it's due. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Faur. I agree with both of you. We've been fortunate. I think we've been very fiscally conservative in the way we've managed this, and I'm very happy with where we are today. Now, next year, you guys are going to be strapped with a couple of pretty large decisions yet to come. But that's what happens as counties grow and you have more people come and you have more things happening. You grow, you expand, and that's what happened. We're trying very hard, to Scott's point, we're trying very hard now to maintain our staff, to keep our people here. We've got really good people here right now. And for the future of the county and where it's going and what we're doing, we need to keep those people in place. And so that's exactly what we're doing here today. We have a responsibility to be competitive with the market, just like everybody else. And we're not overpacing the market here. In fact, I'd argue we're underpacing it. But that's okay. We decided to take a mid-year increase because of what's happening around us. I mean, it's just that's a fact. We might as well just say it. We're seeing lots of cities increasing their budgets right now. Ogden City just put, depending on where you're at in the city, 8 to 12% on, and other cities are increasing. And if we didn't do this now, waited to the end of the year, we'd have a fair amount of people leave. I think you're right. And we just didn't feel like we could do that. So we felt like we had to have a mid-year increase, and I agree with that. And to Commissioner Faur's point, thank goodness we had the money set aside to do it. So it wasn't intended for this purpose, but we had it.
Yep.
So I agree with that. So that's my comment as well. Thanks, Scott. So this is a public hearing today. We would love to have any public that's here. And all of you department heads that are here, you're actually public too. So if you would care to get up and comment on this, negatively or positively, we're glad to have your comments. That's what this meeting's all about. Now. Okay, it doesn't look like anybody wants to comment. So if that's the case,
Commissioners,
yeah.
I'd actually like to make a comment just from observation.
Thank you.
I've heard a lot of
Mr. Christopher Crockett.
Christopher Crockett with the county attorney's office. I've just in my own department, in the county attorney's office, and just in the halls in general, I've heard a lot of employees express appreciation for the commission, being mindful of the current economic situation and helping them out. So I wanted to pass that along.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Very good. Well, if nobody else would like to comment, now'd be the time to close it.
Was that his way of trying to get that $1 million back for the Indigent Defense Fund? Does it say left? Or?
No, I think he missed it.
I think you're right.
How about a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move to adjourn our public hearing and reconvene as a public meeting.
Second.
Very good. Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. Our public meeting, or hearing is now adjourned, and we're back to a regular public meeting. So with that, would either of you care to make a motion on an action here?
I'll make a motion.
Resolution.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harvey.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 34-2022, amending the operating and capital budget for Weaver County for the 2022, or this current year.
Second.
Very good. Motion is second. Craig, you call it?
Roll call vote for Resolution 34-2022. Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey.
Aye.
Chair Jenkins.
Aye. Thank you very much. Well, Commissioners, that concludes our agenda items and our business today. Would either of you like to make a comment as we close? Now would be the time.
I've got a couple.
There we go. I knew there was somebody out there who had one. Commissioner Harvey? Go ahead.
I just feel an overwhelming a debt of gratitude for those who have served so to protect our freedoms. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for celebrations. I'm grateful that people before us have allowed us to have an extra day off. I enjoyed the day. I've got all my kids here. All of us were together yesterday, and we had great food and great time together, and everybody got along. It was wonderful. And so thanks to my sweet wife who made that happen and for us all, and it was just so good. I'm so grateful for the holiday, for that holiday, but not just for the holiday, but for the freedom, for people being able to shoot off fireworks even till 11:30 in the morning. And I'll get you some of those at, or 11:30 last night. I was going to shoot back actually at about 11:30. It wasn't going to be fireworks, but it was. And probably the last thing I've got is, Commissioner Frohr, don't you think those glasses would look really good inside a new Corvette?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice red one.
They had that Barrett Jackson auction going over the weekend down in Las Vegas. And I watched, you know, I'm strapped to the house. The first couple days you can't go out because the ultraviolet rays get on these lenses that are been put in. So that's why I have to wear these glasses. So I was strapped to the house Thursday and part of Friday. And so I sat and watched some of that auction. Boy, I tell you, it'd be fun to go down and buy some of those cars. But anyway, I couldn't get out of the house to go buy them anyway. So.
Did you have a favorite that came across?
Yeah, I did. A 1969 Ford Bronco.
Oh, wow.
That was for day one. That was the high priced vehicle, and it was really interesting to watch him sell that.
Wow.
Pretty fancy. Yep. So anyway, well, very good. Gentlemen, Gage, anything you'd like to say?
Well, just to follow up with Commissioner Harvey again, it's the celebrations we see across this county are celebrating that independence and is, you know, very special. I heard Plain City had a great parade, and I know that Huntsville, we had a little parade, and it's just good to see the people come out and really respect those people that started this great country and the independence we have today. And that's really the significance of July 4th, which I think is probably one of our best holidays we celebrate.
I agree. So, you know, it's interesting, as you're aware, my wife and I started this Boy Scout troop. And so we got up at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock yesterday morning and went up to Far West and served breakfast up there as they were having their festivities. And it was a lot of fun. I agree. This is a lot of honking work, but it's a good time to celebrate what this is all about. And the amount of people who thank you and are curious and are enjoying it, it's just a great time to be out. I agree with you. That is. It's great.
Great holiday.
It's a great holiday. I'm grateful. Boy, we should be so grateful where we live. We are so fortunate. All right, gentlemen. Somebody want to make a motion or?
Motion to adjourn, Mr.
Second.
Chair.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. We're adjourned.